to the Power of One. Today, I am going to be joined with Leslie and Abby from Mission Kids. And I'm super excited about this conversation because we're going to talk about AI and the benefits of AI. They don't know yet, but they're going to help me grow my agency, Northwest Victim Services, just by leaps and bounds. So I'm excited. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Nice
you
to
for
be
having
here.
us.
So we're always talking about AI and just how people are hurt by AI and all the bad things about AI. So let's just flip the conversation and speak about all the good things about AI. So how can an agency, so a small nonprofit like Northwest Victim Services, how can AI be beneficial to a nonprofit?
Oh, so many ways. It can save so much time. I mean, what you may call the back office, the part that has to do with the not service delivery of what you really want to get done. Writing, oh my gosh. So if you use a platform, and we're not out here to sell ChatGPT or anything else, but just as an example, ChatGPT is very well known. If you go into ChatGPT and you put in a question or a prompt, you can ask it not only for information, but you can ask it to write something for you. So you can ask it, an example that we give is that we got a device at the office, a medical device, an AED device in case somebody goes into sudden cardiac arrest. We have to let the staff know that this emergency medical equipment is on site and come to a training. Well, if I'm going to sit there and summarize that, even though I'm a registered nurse, that could take some time to do in language that everybody can understand. And it's a time sucker for me. It's not really the mission of what we want to accomplish. I go into ChatGPT and I say exactly that. Write me an email for a non-medical staff about there's a new AED on site and how to use it. And I will get back an email. And then I'll read it again. I'll say, oh, this is too long. And I'll say, okay, too long. Please cut it, please maybe, or cut it down into a shorter length and make it so that staff are excited to come to the training. And it'll do that. And all of a sudden, what could have taken me several hours of non-mission time took me 10 or 15 minutes.
So that's not plagiarism or nothing like that. You can just take that and then do what you want to do with it.
Well, go
Well,
ahead.
with some caveats, right? So you can say, I think with an email, I think it'd be fine, right?
Okay.
Like you could absolutely say, please write me a persuasive email to this donor. Don't say write the donor's name, a donor that I'm asking to donate snacks for kids. And they can write that. But if you were writing something for maybe a press release or your
Right.
website or something like that, you can still use AI, and I think you should be using AI. It's going to save you a lot of time. But then I would put it into a checker, right? And we call it an AI checker. And then it'll say, this was probably 90% produced by ChatGPT, or actually, it'll say artificial intelligence. And there are things like I use Just AI, and you can, or I think it's Just Done AI, and you can humanize the text. So they will rewrite it so it's not actually sounding like a robot. And then you can then put it into a plagiarism checker and it would say whether it's plagiarized or not. And so while this is probably really terrible for kids and learning how to write and critical thinking skills, it's really great
Right.
for professionals and small nonprofits that need to get the work done and really do not have the time or resources. It is fantastic. I think it helps with marketing, fundraising, doing
Yes.
analysis. It helps you with all of that.
Totally
Okay.
agree.
I
But
mean,
to get to your question about plagiarism as well, even more so, make sure that whatever you get back from it is only your first draft. Do not ever take it as it just being done. And ChatGPT, it'll pull stuff from all over the web or any of these AI platforms will pull stuff from all over the web and summarize it. But remember, it doesn't really think. And so it may not be accurate. It may not draw conclusions that you agree with. You have to go back and check the primary sources to make sure that if it gives you a citation, that it's true. If it gives you statistics, make sure that you can find a real source for those statistics because it actually can hallucinate. And that's the term for it. ChatGPT can make things up because it's learning and it sees stuff and it doesn't know real from not real. It just knows what it finds out there and pulls together. But with that being said, if you put those place guards in place, you get this really well-written material, which you can use for so many different ways. As Leslie was talking about fundraising and donors, sometimes I just draw a blank trying to figure out something new to say thank you to a donor for.
Mhm.
And it just makes life go much faster in that regard and the work.
So I'm old school, like we talked about, but I understand the importance of social media in a good way.
Yeah.
So I have a youth engagement coordinator, and whenever I'm at events, I'm like, okay, post this, okay, post that. And she's like, no, we got to post at 6 p.m. because that's when people are reading it. We got to post. I'm
Yes.
like, okay, whatever. Like, that's your job. I just can't do it. Now, how important is AI for social media platforms for nonprofits?
Say somewhat important. There are AI tools you can use to help you figure out what you should be posting and what time you should be posting, and kind of can give you some clues on what hashtags to include to increase engagement. We also use an AI platform. We've just started this actually, where you can put it on one and it'll automatically then put it on the different platforms. So it could save you time. Now, it took us some time to figure all that out, right? And connect all of our different platforms, but it will save us time in the future. So I would say a lot of it's still like humans taking pictures and figuring out what was this event about? What do I want to tell the audience about? So I would say in that way, it's more human driven, but I think AI will become more and more important in the future. And AI, unfortunately, for social media, so much is AI generated now where people have to figure out, is this true? Or is this
Mhm.
right? And so I think that's one way it might hurt us in the future if people think like what we're saying is fake or not real or something along those lines. But I would say a little bit. It can help you and enhance you in posting, but you're still for a little while still going to need that human touch.
And
Okay.
when you get the content creation, if you get it and you're using AI to help you generate it, you need to make sure that it doesn't sound like AI. And what we learned along the way, I forget which platform it is, maybe Bing, that if you put in your prompt, it comes up and it breaks it down into lots of subparts, that we would normally bullet point, and it uses little emojis. All of a sudden, if we picked up, oh my, if it's got this emoji, it's a giveaway to whoever is reading it as they become more savvy that this was AI created. And so you have to, again, make sure it's only your first draft in terms of what it is that you put up. And as people do become more savvy and understanding that a lot of the content on social media is being AI generated, both the pictures and the posts, and as they become more lifelike, and the content.
Okay. Okay. How can AI help a nonprofit with like their call to action?
Go ahead, Leslie, you take it. You're ready for this.
I think that's a great question. So, while I do not think AI at this time should be used in what we really do, which is normally serve people, I
Hmm.
do think it can help you become more efficient and more effective. And so that means if you're asking people to donate, there's
Hmm.
easy ways that AI can kind of help you figure out what kind of people you should be targeting, what your messaging should be, and what are your best sources. Is it mail? Is it email? What's the best way to convey? I think those are the ways that AI can really help you with your call to action, and really help hopefully people get more engaged.
Yeah. And be careful when you read it. I'm always like Debbie Downer on this,
Yeah.
because it can produce biased responses. So make sure when it gives you your call to action that it is really what you want. And a way that you can help prevent that is when you put your prompts in and ask it to create something from you, make sure you're putting in non-leading prompts that are inclusive and gender neutral in the language. And so that's more likely what you will get back. But just be aware of that with what you get back from it.
Where do you think AI will take us, or where AI will be in about 10, 20, 30 years from now?
I asked, actually knowing that you might ask that question, I actually asked AI what it thought it would be. And the response I got was, and I can read it from you directly, in 25 years, AI is likely to be ubiquitous, adaptive, deeply capable, and morally consequential. I kind of question whether or not it will ever be morally consequential, but that could just be me. It will be embedded in health, it already is, law, education, we know it's embedded in education,
Mhm.
creativity in everyday life, possibly rivaling human intelligence in many domains. That is very scary and very true. But its societal impact, which is where we all really come from, will depend on how humans choose to govern and guide it. So I think that gives us all pause to think about what are we doing and how are we using it.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew exactly how this was going to be. I remember someone telling me that they felt like when their children become adults, they're going to say, when I was a kid, relationships were between two humans, right? Like to
Mhm.
sound like
Mhm.
that's how a
Mhm.
human
Yeah.
and a human instead of a human and a robot. I do
Right.
think we do not even comprehend yet what
Right.
this means for society. And I think it's nerve-wracking and exciting at the same time.
Mhm.
They say maybe the future people will be able to spend more time on arts and leisure activities, have less stress in their life because some of these things that we do on the normal basis, actually AI can take care of it for us, which is fantastic. Now, for nonprofits and what that means in serving people, I certainly hope AI can help us with that and maybe even help us solve some of our societal issues. But we'll see what humans decide and how they decide to use this technology.
So what I think is really timely and goes exactly to what you just said, Leslie, is that Time Magazine just named the architects of AI as the person of the year. Not in
Mm.
person, not Bill Gates, not one of the other developers, but the architects of AI because of what a pivotal moment we are with AI and how much it is now a part of our life that is not going to go away and how fast this train has already left the station. And none of us, I think, are really sure of where it's going, including the architects of it who
Yeah.
developed this. And Leslie was just saying about the thought that in the future it will free us up to have more leisure time, like arts and sports. At this point, I think that something that parents can do and educators and all of us is kids. They scroll. We doom scroll. We just keep going and going and going. Somehow taking the phones away for adults
Mhm.
too, not only kids, and saying,
Okay.
okay, let's learn something new. Let's go to an art class. Let's pick up a sport. And if we forget to do that, we're going to forget that that's what we want to do, I think.
Right.
But I think none of us know. It's really kind of scary.
It is scary, and we are living in that time now where, like when I was coming up in the summer, we were outside from sun up even to sundown because it didn't get dark until
Yep.
later. But we were always outside. We were engaging with each other. We were playing fun games. We created fun games. We're not doing that anymore. Children are not doing that anymore, and I can't stand when I call, whether I got to call T-Mobile or Pico, PG. I cannot stand speaking to. I guess it's AI. Well, operate not an operator because I want a live person, but this automated system. I cannot stand that. So I hope they don't do that.
They're gonna eliminate live people. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the AI receptionist programs they have now. It's really hard to tell that you are not speaking with a real person.
Wow.
It
That's so.
is crazy. So I do think that will probably come to an end. But I do believe your push one, push two will get better. At least you'll feel
Okay.
happier on it where you feel like you're talking to a person. And
Right.
I think it'll be more intelligent to meet your needs, but it still will not be a live person.
But then there's
Wow.
that question too, if we move forward in time, 10, 15, 20 years, and today, what's happening with those entry-level jobs? Those
Mm,
people that might be receptionists, those people that we all
right.
have in the office or don't have in the office at a nonprofit who we need to do filing. and to sort things and organize things. Well, if AI is already doing that and answering the phone and sorting calls, where's that person going to be employed? We're going to need to figure out a way, we as a society, what we're doing and how we're changing job positions so that employment is not eliminated and it works to help us and not hurt us.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, well, we know we're living in hard times now, but
Mhm.
I just saw that Verizon is getting ready to lay off a lot of people.
Right.
And Amazon, they're getting ready to lay off a lot of people. And I saw on the news too, I don't know if you saw this, but they have like this whole new robot system.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is AI system that's in one of their warehouses, and it's just going to take over everything.
Well, and I do think, and while I think it's great that AI is going to do some of those maybe regular tasks that people had to do, as a society, we have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do with the economy? How
Hmm.
are we going to make sure that people are meaningfully employed or have an income at the same time as we're utilizing AI to its full capacity?
Right.
I agree.
I
And
do
and
I do worry about, poverty rates and
Hmm.
who really this is gonna hit. Um, yeah.
right. And also in terms of jobs that are out there, it used to be you could make a phone call. You could like
Hmm.
pound the pavement, so to speak, is the old term, and go in and knock
Hmm.
on doors, try to get your resume pulled, move it to the top,
Hmm.
or have a person looking at it that's not
Right.
looking for keywords, but it's like, oh, this is not quite what I was advertising for, but this
Hmm.
person could really have these transportable skills. Well, if you now have an AI bot or something that's screening resumes for keywords, which is what is happening, then people are being screened out before they
Mm,
ever have a chance to be screened in and really looked at. And that's very problematic for people that are seeking jobs.
that's true. Because listen, way back in the 90s, I would have my fax machine, and I would also mail. Like I would do when I was looking for a job at any time, I would do a mass mailing, and I would get called like that. But today is different. You
Right.
like you said, you figure there's so many people who are just emailing and just sending in their resumes electronically,
Hmm.
as opposed to, back then it was probably maybe five people faxing it in like me, and they would always call me. So would be a
Right.
good thing. So,
Or you could
yeah.
manage to find a person to call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say, I really, can I talk to you for 5 minutes, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's scary and beneficial at the same time.
Yes,
While it's scary, I do think it has overall really helped our nonprofit become more efficient and effective, has made us have the ability to raise more funds than we have in prior years. And I would say improved our communication through email, through website, through social, to be honest. Yeah.
I agree with
That's
that.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to use all of these tips, and I'm going to tell my board members that we have some good stuff. And I was just speaking with someone from Senator Street's office, and they gave me a great idea. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a great idea, and I'm going to send it, and I'm going to use chat.
Chat GPT.
I'm going to use that. Yep. So I will be calling you, and I'm going to let you know about all my wording and how great it was. And I'm just going to sing your praises. So I want to thank you
Oh,
so much for joining
yeah.
me today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. For all of those who are running a small nonprofit or even a big nonprofit, utilize these tools to help your agency grow. Peace and love.